Listen closely. What you are about to hear isn't just a story. It's a mirror, a reminder that your pain, your loneliness, your scars can become the very fire that makes your family proud one day. By the time you reach the end of this story, you won't be the same person you are right now. You will believe, truly believe, that greatness lives inside you too. Because this story isn't about talent. It's about surviving hell and still walking forward. In a small, forgotten town in Ohio, USA, where the winters were harsher than the people, a girl named Emily Carter entered a world already stacked against her. Her father walked out before she turned 6. Her mother worked double shifts at a diner, coming home with swollen feet and empty eyes, too tired to smile, too stressed to rest. Emily grew up in a house where silence was louder than arguments, where the fridge was sometimes empty and the lights flickered because the bill wasn't paid. She knew hunger. She knew cold. She knew what it felt like to cry quietly into a pillow so no one else would hear. At school, her clothes didn't fit. Her shoes were old. Other kids whispered. One girl said, "You look like you live in a charity box." Emily laughed it off, but inside, a piece of her shattered. At night, she lay under a thin blanket, hearing her mother sob in the next room. Those cries became her lullaby. She tried to study, but her hands shook from the cold. Sometimes she sat under a streetlight to finish homework, because their electricity had been cut again. And while walking home, she whispered to herself, one day, I'll make this all worth it." But life hit harder. At 15, Emily developed a chronic nerve condition that made her legs burn with pain. Some days she couldn't even stand. Kids mocked her. Teachers thought she was lazy. She hid her tears in bathroom stalls, biting her hand to stay silent. Inside her chest, fear grew. What if I'm broken forever? Then the worst happened. Her mother lost her job. They were evicted, forced to sleep in a cheap motel that smelled like cigarettes and sadness. Emily saw her mother, trembling, defeated, and for the first time felt real fear. Not fear of bullies, not fear of pain, but fear of becoming nothing. One rainy night, standing barefoot on cold pavement, she wondered if the world would be better without her. Lightning flashed, thunder cracked, and in that moment, a small but fierce voice whispered, "Not yet, not like this. Rise." A perfect cliffhanger. Now here comes the rise. Emily fought back. She took a dishwashing job, saved every dollar, studied late into the night at a public library, her legs throbbing with pain. She learned coding from free tutorials, worked on old donated laptops, failed 100 times, cried 200 more. But she kept going. Pain became her teacher. Discipline became her shield. Hope became her weapon. At 19, she built her first small software tool. At 21, she freelanced from the same motel they once lived in. At 24, she launched her own startup. Scared, alone, but unstoppable. Investors rejected her. Too inexperienced, too emotional, too risky. She worked harder. At 26, her startup was acquired. At 28, she launched another. At 30, she became a millionaire. And when she bought her mother a warm home, with food, light, comfort, Emily cried, because every scar led her here. Today, Emily stands on a TEDx stage, hands steady, voice strong. She says, "Pain didn't break me, it built me." The audience rises, clapping, crying, believing. Emily smiles, the smile of someone who survived everything meant to destroy her. And to you watching, your pain is not your prison. Your suffering is not your end. It is your fuel, the fire that can lift you from the ground to the sky. Welcome to Pain is My Fuel, where every story proves that you are stronger than everything trying to break you.